George had a crush on girl before, not just before, but before 9 hour-long episode.
God damn it.
Yes, indeed, the rumors are in fact true. Spider-Man No Way Home is not showing here in the Philippines at cinemas until January 8 next year. So we are all very sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BetaBeard. We are now up to episode number 7. And as per usual, I am Bibo Reyes, and I'm here with my two friends, Dan Rosen and Chris Schulze. How are you guys? Dan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I don't think anyone has ever called me Dan before. That's so weird.
I'm pretty sure no one's ever called either of you by those names.
No.
Because, most people have two names, right? I just have the one name. I'm just Alfredo Reyes. It's makes me sad in life,
But
to know that I only have one.
Very few people call you Alfredo.
Alfredo. Only my parents when they're mad, or Direk Bobby when he's mad. When he's mad at me.
Alfredo.
Or when he really wants to get my attention, he'll be like, Alfredo. I'm like, yes.
I will have you know, though, I was supposed to be Chris. That was supposed to be my name, my first name. But
what happened?
Well, it was my dad was, we're a line of Georges. So my grandfather's George, my dad's George Jr., I'm George III. And my grandfather wanted to continue this line, and my dad really didn't. So he wanted to name me Christopher George, so Chris George. And my grandfather was like, no, don't do it. And when I was born, my dad was on a flight to the States, and my grandfather showed up at the hospital. and pressured my mom to be like, no, name him George. And she was so stressed that she just did it. And my dad came home like, what happened? What happened to Chris? What happened to Christopher?
Do you have a legit suffix? As in, are you legally the third?
Yeah.
I hate you guys, man. Because I'm the second, which is super unconventional, right? Because usually you'd go by Junior. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm the second is because it's my granddad who's Alfredo the first. So I can't be Junior because it's not my dad who had the name first. But every time someone tries to write my name down, they write the third because it's where the Roman numerals usually start. Right? Yeah. So I'm just like, it's always a problem with checks and contracts and stuff.
Ooh,
God,
and
I already have Alfredo to deal with, which most people go Alfred. I already have, apropos of that, I already have Bibo to deal with, which most people go B-boy over here.
B-boy.
So I have Alfredo, and then Reyes, and then the second, the third, it's a mess. Oh, I have such an unconventional middle name too. My mom's maiden name is Gazmen. Usually it's Guzman, right? Or whatever. It's such a weird name. It's Gazmen. It's like, I know no other Gazmans in the world. So.
Yeah, it's just a little bit off now.
Yeah. I already only have one name, and the rest are just weird. So
at least your name wasn't At least your name wasn't Princess.
Yeah, that's true.
Princess? Why would it be Princess?
Princess Gazmen.
God damn it. Oh, God. Okay. Yep.
My name was supposed to be Bianca.
Bianca?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
My parents thought I was a girl before I was born.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't get the whole, I don't know if we even had that. Did we have the technology in 1989 to do that? To tell. Was ultrasound that good yet? I'm not sure, but they did.
I have no idea.
They were convinced I was a girl until I came out.
Interesting. You were Tiny Dean was given in the slip.
So when you were born and they saw that you were a boy, your mom was like, Dean.
That was so fast, man. That was so good.
Props, Georgie. That was quick, man.
I'm on a roll today.
On a roll. But hey, you know what? The reason we always call you, I always usually call you by your full name, Dean. Is that your full name? Dean Daniel Rosen?
Dean Daniel Rosen.
Do you have any other? Are you a lord? Are you a?
No.
Are you a?
Not yet.
Are you a count or something? But it rolls off the tongue. It's such a great name. Dean Daniel Rosen. You can just keep saying it.
DDR. My top scores in Dance Dance Revolution meant nothing.
because it was just the game playing itself. DDR was just great at itself.
Picturing Dean
By the way, Dean,
dance. It's great.
when we were talking about guilty pleasures, you talked about your Spotify, and you mentioned Norwegian. What was it? Norwegian
folk music. Yeah,
folk music. And I was kicking myself for not mentioning it then, so I'll mention it now. I've only really listened to one song of them, and I have a suspicion that you'll know where I know them from. Do you listen to Hailung? I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but
I
don't know Hailung?
I think I've come across them, but they're not one of my favorites.
Oh my god, they're this amazing. I assume they're Norwegian.
Yeah.
Like it's like this tribal. They wear like animal skulls on stage and stuff. The lead singer, and she has like antlers all the time. The rest have like they look demonic basically. It's so cool. You should listen to their song. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's in my something like that. It's one of those, Nordic things. And it's so cool. It sounds so demonic, but it's not like, it's not their thing. It's not their thing. It's not like a ritualistic thing or whatever. It's just like them, a lot of like, guttural, music, guttural sounding music and stuff. And it sounds so, it's like this like boom, 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 boom.
I think I know them.
Real consistent drum beat throughout. You should listen to the live version. I'll send it to you guys after this, or after we record.
Yeah,
but
please
it's great.
do.
And I discovered them because of, and I'm making this recommendation to you now, Georgie. The sequel to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yes.
The trailer. It was that song.
Oh.
It's like this. Yeah, she. I don't know if you know Hellblade, George, but oh my god, you really need to play that game, man. And in the trailer for the sequel, she's like all possessed and stuff, and then she's this demonic sounding, but isn't really demonic chant. It's like Tavol Atodo Ekerilas.
Hey, that sounds cool.
But and then there's the body of the song. It goes in the and it sounds so like ritualistic and stuff. It's just the Nordic alphabet.
Hey,
so it's basically it's the most metal version of ABC you'll ever hear in your life. It's so cool.
That's awesome.
Super cool. That is super cool.
But yeah, okay. Enough of that. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I was really kicking myself about not mentioning that. You guys should check that out. I figure we take it back to the whole beta thing for this episode because remember when we were brainstorming about this about our podcast, one of my initial pitches for the name was Beta Mentality, right? And we kind of nixed it as we were ramping up because we were like, we don't want to sound like a self-help for lack of a better term, like a preachy sort of channel. This is beta mentality. This is what we think and stuff. But I want to bring it back to that because we've been going, all into the geek stuff recently. And, I thought about how, we're a podcast from the Philippines. We are Filipinos. And, I thought about, how there are a lot of Pinoy words that don't, have translation. Like pangilan, which is like, which are you in the order of this?
Gigil, right?
And
like,
Gigil
doesn't have,
Kilig doesn't really have much of a adequate translation. But the word that I realized is pretty related to our identity in our podcast is it's a pretty negative word, and upon thinking about it, I wish it didn't exist, but it's torpe. Which is, a term that you come across a lot, especially growing up as a young man in the Philippines, and especially going to school in an all boys school, which you went to, grade school was and high school was all boys for you, right, George?
For me, it was until grade 4 I was all boys, and then in grade 5 I moved to a co-ed school. Oh, right.
Well, for me, for all the way from prep, which is before grade 1, all the way until high school, it was all boys for me. What about you, Dean?
Oh, it's always mixed for me.
It was always good for you. So you don't know that experience of like, of just being surrounded by all this. I guess by today's standards, pretty toxic masculinity between young men.
100%.
So I didn't wanna be like, oh, in case you don't know this term, Dean, but you know what Torpe means, right?
No, I don't. So, which is
you
great.
don't? Okay, great.
So that the
George,
portion of our audience.
No, well, I absolutely do know what it means, Beebs, but you know what? Fire away. Like,
I was gonna ask if you wanted to start off explaining to Dean what Torpe means.
I love how this is our first Let's Explain to Dean episode, right?
I know.
Which I've been excited to do.
I'm sure.
We already have our clickbait.
So,
teaching Dean.
Sure, I can start. How about I just start it and then you take over and then. So, Dean Torpe is essentially, and from my understanding of it and how it was used with me, it's essentially kind of a way for you to say that, oh, this guy doesn't really know, he's shy and he doesn't really know how to talk to girls. That's what Torpe has always been to me. That it's like, ang Torpe niya, like when it comes to talking to the opposite gender and anything like that. That's how I've always perceived it. But my Tagalog sucks, so.
No, that's absolutely it.
Yeah,
and it's one of those weird terms that's both an adjective and a noun. So you can be torpe or you also are torpe. If you are defined as a torpe, a guy who is a torpe. Sounds so dumb in English.
Honestly.
If people see that you're not good at talking to girls and stuff, and the reason I thought of that term is because, again, going back to the whole beta thing, that's kind of a characteristic that is attributed to the negative connotation of what a beta male is, right? Like he's too submissive to have the confidence to speak to women and stuff like that. So I just thought we'd talk about that because again, like I didn't realize I was the only one who had that full experience of being in an all-boys school from childhood all the way to high school. And it's one of those things that, honestly, even now, like, if I were to have a son, I don't know if I'd want him to go to an all-boys school as true blue Ateneo as my family tends to be, because it's just such a weird environment. Like, even now, high school in Ateneo is co-ed already, but, like, kind of in air quotes, because the ratio of female students to male students is so low.
Yeah.
So there's still, you can only imagine how weird that is for everyone involved, especially them, because, the kids suck, and it's unfortunate when you think about how they might, feel like animals in a zoo sometimes. So I just wanted to throw it back to that type of stuff, what it was like. I guess you can call this our young boy episode.
Young boy episode. I like that.
Sorry, Young Boy. George, let's explain Youngboy Jealous to Dean.
Young Boy
Jealous. That's another thing.
Let's let I will let you take the floor on this one, dude. Just like,
all right, fine.
You're so articulate with explaining Youngboy Jealous from our conversation.
Okay, so we were doing Suicide Incorporated, right? Don't worry, George. I won't out you on anything.
But basically,
So basically, George, we were about to do a show, and one of the girls that George used to have a crush on was gonna watch. And then, but at that time, that girl, oh my God, the theater community is so small, so it's so easy to narrow it down. But no, a lot of people watch that show. But that girl was in a relationship at that time. And then we were like, oh no, is she watching with the guy? And then we were just like, oh, does he know that George used to like his girlfriend? Oh, what if he gets Youngboy jealous about it? And, and we just came up with this term called Youngboy Jealous with Hans Eckstein, by the way, who I always think about how he should be in this podcast too. He would fit in so well with our vibe and the things we talk about, and especially the geek stuff we talk about. But anyway,
one day, yes.
Yeah, I know we should. So yeah, we just came up with this term called Youngboy Jealous, where it's that irrational jealousy when you're young and in a relationship of like, who are you talking to? Who's that guy you're talking to? Blah, blah, with just complete lack of security.
Wait, sorry, Beebs. Can I just roll that back into just because I'm trying to picture it? Because in Suicide Inc., I was with Mara. Like, so what was?
Yeah.
So what it was? just to clarify, because if Mara watches this, I didn't have a crush on anyone at that time.
No, not at that time.
Yeah,
like,
no.
In your young boy days.
Somebody, when I was younger, I used to, and we were wondering about like, just as like a thought experiment, was the boyfriend she was with, did she know that like I like before type of thing? So
that was confusing.
Yeah, because like, just so you know,
I'm sorry, was I not clear?
Because I think what came across was that George had a crush on this girl who was gonna watch.
I'm sorry.
Had a crush before we did the show. Like before I was with Mara, before I met Mara. So like,
no, not at all.
That's why I just had to clarify, because I was like, wait.
Because that's what I got. I was like, how long ago was that show?
No.
I appreciate that. Yes, thank you, George. I'm sorry. And I apologize.
Had meant before. Because in the context of had now, it could look like had during the show.
Yeah.
But had before the show. Like, before Mark.
Right. Absolutely.
Haven't had a crush on anyone since.
You know what? but again, to sort of like absolve you of any like hot water. Again, like I mentioned earlier, like the theater industry here is so small, so like it's inevitable that there are those, little histories between people. This person used to like this person. Absolutely. And then it's for the most part it tends to be common knowledge around people. So
and
so there's that.
And I was one of those, like, whenever I had a crush, I was sort of like, I was always of the mindset that, like, I'm not gonna do you the disservice of like beating around the bush here. Like I normally, more often than not, would confess into a huge rejection. That's normally that's like majority of my life, which is kind of funny.
So okay, I will say, because I will admit that for a major part of my life, at least going up until like maybe 16, 17, I was really torpe. I didn't get a girlfriend until I was 17, I think.
Mm-hmm. Same.
So yeah.
Same
that's why I thought it'd kind of resonate to bring that term up and teach it to Dean, because like I admit I was really torpe back then, and yeah. What about you, Dean? What was your experience like growing up when it comes to that? And again, this is what I was saying. Like, share or withhold as much as you want. Yeah. and nix anything you want. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. I think anybody who knows me knows that I haven't had the greatest luck with serious relationships. Mm-hmm. And I've only really had 2 serious relationships. And before that, yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely useless at talking to women, for sure. Or, like I like you, I got my first girlfriend when I was 17. She was 16. And we stayed together for 5 years. I'm still really good friends with...
What?
Yeah. Still like really good friends with this girl. And my most recent ex, actually. I'm still very good friends with both of them, but it just, it didn't work out. And the weird thing is that I asked them. It's like, why I asked them stuff like, why do I keep getting friend zoned and rejected? What's happening there? And they have no answer for me.
Is this, when did you ask them, like after you guys broke up?
Yeah.
I said, what, they just said, I don't know.
No, they just couldn't. Apparently they can't. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because they were the ones who said yes, but they can't imagine why that might be. Of course,
I see.
Of course there are.
That's unhelpful.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's many probable reasons, right, that you just don't want to get into, but no significant ones worth mentioning, I assume, because I'm really very open with a lot of my friends about, as you guys know, you can tell me stuff about myself, and and we'll be real about it. But yeah, how about you, George? What was your young boy experience?
Young boy. Oh man, I'm gonna try my best to just, my first girlfriend wasn't when I was 17. I would say that I grew up with 3 older sisters. So it definitely helped in my being able to converse with women very respectfully, because, I mean, that I made it such a point to learn from them, and that's to this day. I feel like I would be so happy that if I ever had kids. Of course, any order would be fine, but I love the format of having an older sister, a girl first, and a guy after, because I really feel like an older sister helps teach men respect at a young age for women, and it kind of like removes a lot of toxic masculinity that is normal to come into your life. Like, seeing strong female figures ahead of you, I feel like really helps create that foundation. So I've always been able to sort of talk to women. What I haven't been able to do is talk to them with much success. Like it was. So I had no problems getting close or conversing or expressing or having that moment where you're like, you know what, I like you. And then they're just like, oh, thanks. Thanks. like I always became such a good friend and like really listened, because I love listening, and I'm very I feel like growing up with 3 older sisters, I took it's unfortunate because they'd be referred to as feminine qualities, but I think feminine qualities are really strong qualities. And that's a whole nother conversation about the landscape of the workplace, about how masculine qualities kind of lead to success in the workplace, and how that's kind of made this dynamic of masculine being good versus feminine being weak. And that's so BS, and it's not the case. I think feminine qualities are amazing and absolutely strong in their own way. And that's sort of why I was able to talk, but it also made me a very, very good listener and friend. So girls at a younger age who were looking for something a little more adventurous would be like, oh, George is that type of guy that, like when you're older, you bring him home to your parents maybe, and like in your 30s. But right now I kind of want to be with a bad boy, some mystery. And I didn't really provide that mystery.
I love that you bring that up of how like there tends to be like this narrative around you sometimes. Well, actually, because I was gonna say that it wasn't until college that like I broke free of the Torpe shackles, even though we all can be Torpe here and there still.
I don't know if I've gone over that.
Ah, dude, you freaking got it. You darling the shit out of anyone and anything in sight.
Agreed.
But it was because of college and theater that I started getting my groove just socially, just being around women and just people in general. But the one of the things that used to get me so I have angst about it was that so when I was in college and I was quite heavy set and technically obese, but people would find me cute, and like a lot of the girls would sort of use me as like, I don't know if this paradigm will ring any bells for you guys, but I was like a sort of like a crush shield. Like I was a safe crush for people to say that, oh, I have a crush on this guy, but really they like someone else. Yeah. And it plagues me to this day, because like in a production recently, I was like, this girl was like super like, oh my god, people so cute, but then she liked someone else in the production. I was like, I'm tired.
What's ironic?
Being a beard, a crush beard. What's up?
You were absolutely a BetaBeard.
I know, exactly.
It's exactly what you were.
Exactly. I'm tired of being a beta crush beard, man. Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah, no, that absolutely rings a bell for me as well. Like I've had girls, from puppy love days, like, in my teens, actually confessed to me later on in adulthood. It's like, yeah, I just told people that I had a crush on you because I knew that you wouldn't, hurt me or like take offense to it, and because they knew that I was safe,
Yeah.
So,
such a beta thing, right? It's so. Why does this happen to us?
Yeah, all the time.
So it's like, yeah, that sounds very, very familiar.
Bibo, I did want to ask though. Oh, sorry, Dean, if you weren't finished.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask, at what age do you think that shackle of that crush shield, at what point did you really start to feel it consistently, like, leave you? Was that more into the later part of your life? Was it more like after college, post, during? When did you find yourself?
I just said that a recent production, I was still a crush beard. So.
No, but we know.
But in real terms.
Yeah, in real terms. Yeah.
Probably towards early on in college. That was how it sort of started for me in college. Yeah. And then as like I described, as I was hitting my stride, as I was, I got a steady group of people to be around and stuff.
Yeah.
Things changed. But then at the beginning it was like, oh, Bibo's the he's the popular choice for a safe crush.
Safe crush. Safe crush.
I think especially for you guys, this might surprise a lot of people, a lot of our audience. This will be like, what, how did these handsome men?
No, not at all. They can.
Did you say you guys? Include yourself in that list, dude.
Yeah,
no,
Dean.
not at all.
Well, okay. You know what? Here, super beta moment. Here's some. I am gonna willfully necessitate a beard censor here because there's gonna be some Dean fucking for the next minute or so. I am sick of your guys' faces from editing these damn episodes because I see your faces all the damn time. But George, you're Mr. Poggy. But
since
when I look at your face, I'm like, Dean is such a fucking dashing young man. I'm like, look at this dude.
So
like,
Dean is.
If you want any,
he should be Dean dashing Rosen.
Dashing, anyway, DDR still holds for Dean Dashing Rosen.
Well, thank you so much. It would be so lovely if other people share.
And I will say, and I won't say it's just because of this, but it's sort of like with a hair now, man, and like the natural quaff that happens with that situation you've got going on.
I do.
Dude, I'll tell you, I've been going on walks with Dean, and it's not just on video. Like, he looked really good in person. Like the hair,
look at that.
With the hair, I told him this a few nights ago. I was like, dude, this look really works for you, man.
I'm very. Thank you so much. You guys look good in person as well. My God,
this is good.
This is mutual.
Can I pull it away? Actually, into
enough of the circled beard. Wait, Dean, that just added 2 more beard sensors. God damn
it! Sorry.
Oh God. Can I just? I'm gonna move it into sort of continuing off that topic because I think I want to use this.
Okay, you know what, Georgie, hold that thought because we are at 30 minutes. So. Happens all the time, but I'm confident we're gonna make good time.
Will this be the one?
We can try. But I will.
It won't, but it'll be decent.
I will take this moment. Sorry. Go.
Yes, George, you go.
Please no, finish.
There we go. That's our intro.
Oh man, there it is.
Seriously, what were you gonna say?
No, just before we leave the topic of Torpe, and I think I just wanted to say this for any young man that might be listening. I feel like that's really important. I wanted to just go into two very quick stories about where I am today and what I've learned from mistakes that we kind of all make as young men. One was that we talked about our first relationships, and one of my earlier relationships. And I'm still very, very good friends with this woman, just like Dean. I make it a point to be good friends with, all of my exes. I think that there's no point for that kind of trauma. And this girl, was really, really defined what a relationship was. She was that, first love type thing. And it just happened to go into this flow of we could only date for, a span of 2 months before she found a reason to break up with me, and then we'd get back together, and then she'd break up with me, and then we'd get back together, and then she'd break up with me. And, for some reason, the reality was that it was all stuff that she was going through internally, right? It's stuff that, as a kid, we tend to forget that everybody goes through their own thing, unique journey, life issues, family issues. But I made the mistake of absolutely making every single time we broke up 100% my fault in my head. Like, it became this constant, why aren't I good enough? Why am I not worthy of that love? Why am I not worthy of her being with for more than 2 months? Why can I only make it this far before she's bored of me? Why am I flawed? Why am I this? Why am I that? Never in my mind did I ask, what is she going through? What is happening in her life that is not allowing her to accept what I currently have to offer? So I guess what I just want to point out is there are going to be a lot of times in life, especially to all the young men out there, where you're going to tell yourself that I'm not worthy of being loved, that I'm not worthy of somebody's affection, that I'm not worthy of anything, that I'm not good enough. And I want to cut that narrative in your head. Our life journeys are all different, and I think it's really important to say, especially to young men who might have gone through some toxic masculinity, especially if you were raised in the Philippines, that you are worthy of love. You know, everybody has something that's going on in their life. Just because this moment doesn't connect or click for the both of you doesn't mean that that's 100% your fault. There are so many different things in the situation that add up to it, and I'm just saying, don't let that define your life. Yeah. You know, I mean, for where you do fall, pick yourself up, learn from your mistakes, forgive yourself, and grow. And let yourself grow and heal. Don't hold that resentment and let it burn a scar into your heart. Because that's going to absolutely inform what you do and how you act for the next relationships forward. And these relationships, the ones that could potentially be the ones that make you happy, are the ones that you're going to want to be your best self for. And you can't be your best self if you're letting a past relationship drag you down for weight, a burden of weight that isn't even yours to bear, that you're forcing yourself to bear. So I think that's one of the main things that I wanted to say, Beebs.
Right. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Beta Mentality.
Beta Mentality.
We'll be back next week with Why Am I Always So... No.
You did that so well. Great. That felt like I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, that felt really good.
But that's great. No. And we sort of ended up going to relationships, which... wasn't really what I was thinking about, but I'm glad that we did, because that's super important too. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and bring it back to the whole Torpe thing. I said early on when I first introduced it as a topic, I don't like the term in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many problematic terms in the Philippines, like utang na loob and all sorts of like things that just cause people to grow up weird, for lack of... I'm pretty zonked right now. So anyway, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things like that because they're terms, they're accepted and sort of like just tolerated as acceptable, when they really shouldn't be. And I don't like the idea of Torpe being such an easy thing to sling around, because, like, number one, it makes it seem like a game, like, oh, you're Torpe, so you suck as a man because you can't talk to girls and you can't score. Mm-hmm. And then it reduces relationships with girls, whether any type of relationships with girls, with it to just a guy's inability to relate with them, and that in turn devaluing the guy. Bring it back to what we talked about in Guilty Pleasures. Raj in Big Bang Theory, he has that whole bit where he can only talk to girls if he's intoxicated, right? And it's sort of like that puts it in such a stigmatized there. It stigmatizes just speaking to women, and to label someone as Torpe is so unnecessary. Just maybe they're insecure, they're nervous. Everyone's insecure. Yeah, like you don't need to reduce someone's identity to a label that sort of diminishes all their other qualities just because of a certain because they're kind of wanting in a certain social aspect that they can grow out of eventually anyway, and they can learn more about. So
and labeling,
that was the last thing I wanted to say about it. Dean.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say, and labeling somebody like that, especially, there's
I'm glad we got to introduce the term to you, by the way. Yes. I hope you can retain it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, One challenge. Piece. Sorry. Just like Torpe. What's next?
A word to 1,000 episodes of anime.
What a leap, right? No, but I think there's a thing with, Filipino culture. And I say that as somebody who, a lot of people might not recognize that I do have Filipino blood in me. I'm half Filipino. I have a lot of Filipino family that I'm close with. And there is Filipino culture of whatever you say to a person is okay as long as it's a joke. And there is, I think there is a toxicity to that, definitely, because what you say to people really affects how they see themselves. And no matter what your intention might be, labeling someone as somebody who's sort of useless at talking to women, it's never going to help them talk to women. So, I guess I'll leave it
exactly there. You know what? That is so well put. You are such an erudite gentleman, Dean. That was so well done. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I know this might cut into the episode time, but I have like a quick funny story that kind of like encapsulates that.
It's okay, George. You just want to sabotage me in my attempt to get this one. So go ahead. Okay, go ahead, George.
Right. I feel like this show is also about putting ourselves out there. This is information that I'm not necessarily proud of, but it's here and I'm sharing it with you. I'm being vulnerable to share just something that I did when I was younger, which was, on that note, on the note of Torpe, there was a point where I couldn't understand why girls kept rejecting me. I couldn't understand why. And again, that narrative from that first relationship just stuck. Why aren't I good enough? What am I doing wrong? That informed so much of how I'd put myself down and kick myself in the foot before I even started. And I kept trying to come up with a solution, and with the stupid solution I came up with in my head was that I'm a nice guy and it sucks. Nice guys finish last, and I don't like, and the term nice guy, I actually hate that term in general, but, that's what I framed it as in my head, that I'm too caring or kind or giving or whatever. And how much of that was me projecting my niceness onto what a girl desired, right? So like niceness, quote unquote. And that's a whole other topic that I'd love to talk about another time, Beeb. So
we should definitely, because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
And
like that nice guy trope. There's a lot to say about it. But anyway, point is, when I was younger, I made an experiment. There was a book, and if you research it, it's an absolutely disgusting book. It's called The Game. Have you ever heard of The Game?
Yes.
I just lost the game now. Thanks, George.
You lost the game. No, well, The Game is about the world of pickup artists. And it follows the life of a man who entered this world and started learning more about pickup artistry. So how to dissect a room, how to look at women in a bar, how to like the number of women would dictate like what kind of approach you did, like all down to a science, like disgusting. And I was reading it and I was like, there's no way this stuff works because it's silly, and the Philippines is so small that everybody knows each other, so you can't like make ruses or have different personalities or be like, I am a distinguished gentleman from you can't just pretend to be someone you're not. But I did read it, and as an acting experiment, I decided to try it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna as an actor, I'm gonna get in this role. I went to an international school party that was like a mixer from like kids coming in from different parts of the world. So I was like, perfect place to just kind of try this out. They're all gonna leave. I don't know anyone. None of them live here. And I absolutely, by the book, did everything by it. I
think you've told me this, yeah.
Yeah, like I found like a group of women who were sitting at a table. I approached with like the stuff, the sludge the book taught, and I like did all the stuff, like to the science. And by the end of the night, one of the girls was like, trying to insinuate that like not insinuate is using it lightly. She straight up asked me to for something more to happen.
To play rock, paper, scissors.
Yes, to play rock, paper, scissors. And I was so terrified of the fact that like, I like kind of manipulated somebody's like, whatever the science said, and I don't agree with it. To further my own means, that I excused myself. I said I was going to go to the bathroom, and then I hid in my car, and I just never went back to the party. Because the idea was very clear in my head there that I was like, you know what, right here, it is not ever going to be worth lying to someone, like manipulating anyone. If you have to be somebody else to get what you want, then what you want isn't worth getting, because it's your whole life should be a journey about finding the best version of you, growing in the right direction for yourself in a healthy way. And I think that's just something important to point out, and like just to ricochet off what Dean said, that, you know, I mean, that's an example of you pursuing the opposite direction, where you really try to be something you're not, someone you're not. And when you finally get what you thought you wanted, you did it being somebody you weren't. And I can guarantee you that it's not worth it like that.
Yeah.
BetaBeard is dead. Welcome to Beta Mentality.
For this episode.
No, but sorry. I don't mean that to make light of what you said, George.
No, of course no.
But yeah, no, that's legit.
I love that you made it a little lighter, because like I'm disgusted with the fact that I ever even considered it. I was just in such like a bad, you know.
Right. I remember you've told me the story, and also it's such a great story too. That's really awesome to hear. You know what? Just to leave this off on a lighter note. Dean, I'll explain this to you. And George, I don't know if you've had much experience, because like since 4th grade you've been co-ed, right? But Dean, do you know what a soiree is?
I know.
I mean, and I'm sure you know the term.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know the colloquial.
Yes,
meaning.
to the colloquial connotation of soiree in the Philippines, especially when you're in high school and stuff, is a high school class, a high school section. Will from a boys' school will go to a party with a high school section from a girls' school.
Interesting.
And it's a soiree. See, oh my God, I'm so glad that I'm getting this reaction. I'm like, okay. So that was a thing a lot in high school. And as you can freaking imagine, it is the most awkward, uncomfortable thing you could possibly experience, because it's literally it's a joke. Like you can draw let's say you're having it at one of the students' houses, right? In a garden or whatever. You can literally draw a line between where all the girls are huddled and where all the boys are huddled.
Yeah.
And it's so probably one or two pairings of just the people who already knew each other and planned the soiree. I actually one of my best friends and is a theater person as well, Arya. I met her at an interaction, which was an official soiree facilitated by the schools. So our section from Ateneo met had an official soiree with her section from Assumption, and that's how we met. So I know, see, like great relationships can come out of the most awkward interactions.
I'm sure that's a wholesome story for
another time.
No, but seriously, like, it's not to insinuate that it wasn't wholesome in any way, but I'm sure that most stories that come from soirees are, if my high school experience was anything of an indicator, not as wholesome as that.
Yeah, no, but like it's so different from like the co-ed paradigm, because we're, especially the ones from the all boys school, we're just like, it's like, oh my God, it's a real life girl who's there. There are even these things, oh my God, these poor children having to go through this. Like there'd be these for intramurals, there'd be these opening ceremonies, and every boys section would have to have a muse, which was just someone's sister or whatever, to be your, like, it sounds so crass, but like your representative at the opening of the intramurals. So
wow.
Every year we'd have a muse for our section. It is the weirdest thing, man. Yeah. I now realize I have a treasure trove of all boys school stories to tell you, both of you guys.
I'd love to hear.
it is not a fun way to grow up. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, very alien to me.
It is December. It is Christmas time. And as we are still in the midst of the pandemdems, we can't really super hang out as much. One of the things that people do during Christmas is White Elephant. I don't understand why it's called that. More commonly known as Secret Santa or gift exchange.
Yep.
Gift exchange. And I figured one of the ways we could facilitate that for our podcasts and our purposes is by doing what I have now termed the round failure. round robin recos.
All right.
Yes.
Where we'll recommend something to each other. And it's like homework for and I'm setting it for the next time I host an episode where we break down the thing that our beta bro recommended to us. And it hopefully it's something that you haven't consumed of your own accord that the other person genuinely feels strongly about. George, I am taking you up on your round robin reco of Arcane, and I am committing to finishing it before my next host episode, right?
Awesome.
So I've actually already seen the first episode. So
Awesome.
it's
wow.
from George to me, it's going to be Arcane. And then there's going to be from me to Dean, and then Dean to George. But, okay, Dean. As your beta bro, I will be sensitive and respect your personal space and your personal time. Because you've already intimated on this podcast how difficult it can be to get into something new, right? And I've concurred with you in that aspect. So it'd be remiss of me to not recognize that and try to manage it in the most conscientious way possible. And I will do that by saying this because I genuinely think you guys, both of you, will love the HBO series of Watchmen. And I wanted that to be my reco for you. But even though it's only 9-hour episodes, I still recognize that can be a load to consume in a short amount of time, especially if you quote unquote have to, right?
That sounded like you just said 9-hour episops.
Oh, sorry.
Because I know 9-hour episodes.
George had a crush on girl before, not just before, but before 9-hour-long episodes.
9 1-hour episodes. Yes. It's just 9-hour episodes. I was like
9-hour episodes.
Yes.
Of Watchmen. So in light of that, I am gonna make a deal with you, Dean.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a light round robin reco on the condition that you give Georgie a legit one that he hasn't consumed yet. And will be tasked to receive from your repertoire of things to recommend to people.
Interesting. Okay.
So, I instead of HBO's Watchmen, and there are other caveats too, but I'll get into it.
Yeah.
But I recommend to you, Dean, for our Christmas 2021 round robin recommendations, the All Too Well short film by Taylor Swift.
I knew it. I knew you were going to do that. I want that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Georgie. I'm
Dean's
sorry,
going to give me a
hairstyle,
horror. I hate horror.
Oh no. But it's that, but also watch the short film and then the lyric video so that you can get the full experience of the words. So that's all it is. That's all. Just a short film, which is only 15 minutes. And the music video, which is about 10 minutes long. So from 9-hour episodes, you've been bumped down to generally 30 minutes of content. So,
oh wow, thank you.
There you go. I present you with that option. So yeah.
Come on, Dean.
Excellent.
Come on, Dean. Give me something good.
So I'm gonna give you some choices here. As I think I've mentioned on this podcast before, I have become recently quite a fan of horror media. Okay. But I know that you're not a big fan of horror media. However, I will say that there are some horror movies that I think you might enjoy because they're not cheap. They don't have that many jump scares.
That many? So there's some.
Well, no, there's one in particular that I can think of that doesn't have any. in my opinion.
I just don't like jump scares, man.
Yeah. I hope this is what I... Okay, wait. So, go on.
It's a very unconventional thing, actually.
Oh no. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting excited.
But I can definitely...
I think I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay.
I can definitely recommend a bunch of horror media, different horror media. Mm-hmm. This is a movie. And what's interesting about it is that it's a slasher, and I usually don't like slashers. Oh yeah, it's not what you were thinking.
It's not what I was thinking, but I'll tell you what I was thinking later.
Yeah, because that might be a better one. If you tell me, I'll
okay, also, go. Finish your options. Yeah.
But it would be funny also to recommend bad things, but this is not a bad thing. This is a very, very interesting movie. It's called Hush, and it's on Netflix. I believe it's still on Netflix. It's by one of my favorite modern horror directors, Mike Flanagan, who, for those of you who don't know, he also directed Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Oculus, the second Ouija movie, which is actually pretty darn good.
Was Haunting of Hill House with Ryan Reynolds?
That was an old... No. That was... I can't remember the name of the
House
place.
on Haunted Hill?
No, it was the Amityville Horror, I believe.
Amityville Horror.
Yeah. There was a Haunting of Hill House. There was a Haunting of Hill House in black and white, directed by Robert Weiss, which was very good for the time, but not very scary anymore. So you can check that one out if you want. And then there was a remake in the 90s with Owen Wilson, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
So you're giving me a horror. You're giving me a horror. Okay.
I'm giving...
All right.
I'm giving you a horror with no jump scares.
Oh, no, George.
I'm giving you a horror with no jump scares.
Okay.
It's not...
Okay.
And it's not a... The only thing disturbing about this horror is the psychology of man. But it's not supernatural, it's not about ghosts or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's actually a very thrilling, excellent movie in my opinion. Very highly rated on Netflix. I'll just give you a quick synopsis for those who also might be interested. It's about a woman who's an author and she's deaf, living in a secluded house by herself. She's trying to write her new book, so she doesn't want any external stimuli bothering her, so she's deliberately isolated herself, and a psychopath just so happens to stumble upon this woman who is living alone. There's I just remembered there's one jump scare.
I was about to say
the one that I thought you were
one jump scare.
In the one that I thought you were gonna recommend too, there's literally just one jump scare.
I'm so interested. What's the one you thought I was gonna recommend?
Should I say now? Oh, I thought you were gonna say Midsummer or Midsommar, however you pronounce it.
That's also a really good.
You were gonna say Midsommar.
That's also a really
which
good.
I doubt George has seen. But if you're talking about unconventional horror movies,
okay, I'll give you the
Midsummer's
choice, George, because Midsommar is I would say is a much better movie. It is a lot more horrifying in terms of it's disturbing. But
I don't mind disturbing. I don't mind messed up. Actually, I just mind jump scares.
You might really enjoy Midsummer or Midsommar, however you say that in the native language. It's by
Ari Aster.
Yeah, Ari Aster, who also did Hereditary, which I wouldn't recommend to you because it's got a lot of jump scares.
Like, I can guarantee you, I have watched like some bearded up anime. I know I've watched anime that has been more bearded up and gruesome and like, as in any top 10 gruesome anime death videos.
It's not even that gruesome, really.
Yeah.
It's really just like
I've seen them. Like, so I can do messed up. I'm like squishing my stress ball because, and it's a peach.
The reason I got excited, Dean, the reason I got extra excited was because like Midsommar sort of ties into the Norwegian stuff we were talking about.
Yeah,
earlier,
absolutely.
So.
Midsommar might be a much better recommendation. So I'll leave it up to you, George.
Yeah.
The slasher is definitely not scary.
Hush.
There's
Hush.
Hush is I think a very underrated film, but Midsummer is definitely a.
You watch, we come back a few weeks later, like in Bibo's episode, and I'm just gonna be like, Dean, I read the recommendation of Hush. What a great graphic. What a great graphic.
Oh my god, I can't believe I missed this masterpiece.
Oh man, like what a great. Thanks for recommending me a Batman masterpiece.
Yeah. If only it had the original ending, but but yeah. So I'll leave it up to you. Do you want a very avant-garde,
no,
extremely disturbing?
I'm good with the two. I'll watch one of them. Give me a horror.
Yeah.
You gotta choose now, Georgie. You gotta commit.
I gotta choose now.
You gotta commit now. Yes. On video.
What's the shorter one?
I believe Hush is the shorter one.
I'll do Hush.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Let's up the ante. I'm gonna do Midsommar because I wanna be able to talk about the Norwegian folk music.
Yeah.
Also, George,
I do want to talk about the fact that Dean and I wrote a song also, like when we talk about that is a category of its own that we deemed glam folk. So.
Oh wow! Like, we gotta play that.
We wrote a song together. We wrote two, but like one of them was so like that. I used to tell Dean a lot, like I love folk music and I love like Celtic music, and so he said, actually, I've been listening to Norwegian like folk, so like so awesome. Just anyway, I'll do Midsommar George, so we can talk about that.
Midsommar was sort of like Florence Pugh's breakout.
Yeah.
As like, oh my god, I'm this fantastic fucking actress. Check me out. So at least on that level, you'll super enjoy the movie.
Okay. So. All right. But you know what?
I enjoyed the acting
because it's a horror. I can't convince. I'm not allowed to pick movies for the next 3 movie nights for Mara and I because I've picked movies that have very much disappointed her these last.
Oh no!
Like she's like, you're not allowed because I've always been like, you always pick the movies. How do I know? Because the last 5 movies we watched are rom-coms. I was like, I'm gonna pick the next 2, and they didn't go so well for her. She was like, nope, I'm taking that key back from you.
As far as that one jump scare though, Georgie, I feel like Dean and I should tell you now what it is, so that you can retain. It's when she starts feeling sick and then goes to like this outhouse. That's where the jump scare comes. So just so you're prepared. That's when it happens.
But that's in Hush, right? Not Midsommar.
No,
in Midsommar.
Midsommar, there's.
Midsommar. But so there's one jump scare.
Yeah, it's not even much of a jump scare, but it doesn't go like that at you. It's just a sudden realization. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I hate it. I'm just thinking about it now. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, it's bearded up. Fine. Absolutely bearded up.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yes, I am so pleased. We did it. We did our round robin recos for Christmas 2021.
Yep.
Dean has sealed George's fate.
Sorry, George. But that was a great recommendation. That was a great thing.
I'm sorry that it's kind of my recommendation.
No,
well, it's both our recommendations.
Yeah, because definitely, I don't know why I didn't think of that. Because it's the perfect one for George, I think.
Yeah. I think it's perfect too, especially because it's unconventional. It's mostly daytime, George. So imagine that, a horror movie that's mostly like in the blinding sunlight. So
okay.
In that regard, it's really, really unconventional. Okay,
we'll see how it goes.
I think that does it for episode 7 of BetaBeard, Beta Mentality, BetaBeard.
BetaBeard.
BetaBeard. That was great, guys. I really enjoyed that episode. To everyone who has been watching the episodes, just has ever listened to any of our points, any of the topics we've discussed. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Yep. That's why we want to do this, is to share the things that we always enjoy talking about with people who also may be interested. So seriously, even if you're not subscribed yet, but please still do subscribe if you enjoy what we do. Thank you so much if you've ever laughed from listening to this podcast.
Or felt any joy or, took anything away from it. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, to everyone who's listened, thank you so much. So that's been episode 7 of BetaBeard. Please like and subscribe. Subscribe if you are so inclined. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.